Hello and welcome to Arsenal Analysed. I'm JC. I hope you're doing well. In this video, I bring you tactical analysis on Arsenal 2, Leeds 1, another win for Arsenal at the Emirates, one step closer to a top 4 finish. But I'll be breaking it all down for you today. Why Arsenal won, what tactics Arteta implemented to edge Leeds. And if you do go on to enjoy today's video, a like would be super appreciated. And if you're new around here, why not consider subscribing, as it massively helps me and the channel out. But what will we be covering during today's video? So first things first, a quick few thoughts on the starting lineups and how Arteta decided to use his subs before diving into some statistics to see the areas that Arsenal dominated in, and then the action areas, Arsenal's passing shape, and areas Arsenal, as well as Leeds, look to exploit. Then we'll be looking at key moments, breaking down those goals, as well as Arsenal's shape and system, before finally finishing up with some player analysis on players I thought who had a particularly good game, which was very difficult this week. There were so many good players. But let's waste no more time at all and jump straight into things, shall we? So kicking off with Arsenal's starting 11, Nketiah started up front yet again, and a very good decision. I would find it very difficult to find a reason why Arteta would choose to pick Lacazette up top between now and the end of the season. He certainly has added a different dimension to what Arsenal do going forwards. And with regards to the rest of the team, I did have Smith Rowe down as playing left wing in my preview, and that was simply because Martinelli had a fairly underwhelming game against West Ham. Maybe he's used that as motivation to really kick himself into gear, because boy, did he have a very, very good game. Him and Saka, those wide players, absolutely instrumental to all things good that Arsenal done against Leeds. Tomiyasu playing at left back, somewhere we know he can play, somewhere that he hasn't played for Arsenal yet, but has played for Bologna. Now, this for me is writing on the wall with regards to Tavares, who wasn't unfit or injured. He's decided to play Tomiyasu there instead of Tavares. And with Arsenal being linked with several different fullbacks at the moment, I think Tavares' time at Arsenal could be coming to an end. Will that mean a loan at the end of the season or a sell? I don't know. But boy, was it a good decision. Tomiyasu playing at left back gave Arsenal so much more balance. And at times, which we'll see in a few pictures that I've got in my breakdown, Tomiyasu was one of the furthest players forward on that left-hand side. He doesn't even really do that on the right. And because he is naturally right-footed, there were times where he did make up numbers in midfield to create overload. So some really, really, really good decisions. Ben White didn't feature either. He is there or thereabouts with regards to his fitness, but Arteta not wanting to risk him with such a huge game against Spurs coming up in midweek, and holding, again, a very, very good performance from him. And with regards to his substitutions, no real surprises there, bringing off Saka and Martinelli for Pepe and Smith Rowe, essentially looking to rest those players ahead of that midweek fixture. And then Nketiah coming off in the 90th minute for Lacazette, really just to kind of help run down that clock. So some very smart decisions from Arteta, ones that I would expect most managers to make. But apart from that, I think Arteta really did get everything absolutely spot on against Leeds. Having a look here at the action areas and stats, for those of you who did watch the game, Arsenal 63% possession. I think in that first 10 minutes, I think it was closer to 90%. So no real surprises there. Arsenal having 19 shots, Martinelli having 2 very, very good opportunities, Odegaard having a couple as well, and even Nketiah beyond the 2 goals that he did get, had a couple of very, very good opportunities. A game where the scoreline could have quite easily have been 4 or 5, but things just didn't go our way in that regard on the day. Don't get me wrong, Arsenal did get the rub of the green in other areas, but a very, very dominant performance with 63% possession, 19 shots, and an XG of 2.83 compared to Leeds' 0.51. An absolutely dominant performance. And passing accuracy at 90%. Very, very good. And as you've probably already seen in the title of this video, Arsenal looking to play and exploit Leeds out wide with those wide rotations. If we have a little look here at the action areas for Arsenal, both on the left and the right-hand side, Arsenal having the most joy and the most success. We know that Leeds like to play on the front foot, a very attacking team, even though they have changed managers from Bielsa. They still play a very similar style of football, but Arsenal looking to exploit Leeds out wide. Leeds, on the other hand, if we have a look at theirs, clearly looking to exploit Cedric, one of the weakness areas for Arsenal. Something that, funnily enough, a lot of teams have tried to do since Tomiyasu got injured, but fair play to Cedric. He has really held his own at right back. I think the only really bad performance I can remember this season since filling in for Tomiyasu was against Crystal Palace. But apart from that, he's done very, very well. And what I meant about those wide rotations, what I meant about Arsenal playing high and wide, if we have a look here, Arsenal's passing shape, we can see Saka and Martinelli, furthest players forward out wide. And then with those wide rotations on that left-hand side, we've got Xhaka and Tomiyasu making up that triangle here on the left, and the triangle on the right much more close. We've got Saka, Cedric and Odegaard, and this really was how we undone Leeds. Nketiah playing very, very advanced. Normally when we play Lacazette, he's in a slightly more deeper role, but I think this helps the way Arsenal play in that front three of Saka, Nketiah and Martinelli, with sometimes a front five of Odegaard and Xhaka making up those numbers. And then El Neni doing something that Thomas Partey is very, very good at doing when he plays, is dropping into that back three, so that if Arsenal are hit on the counter-attack, we've got Rob Holding here that can come out to the right-hand side, or Gabriel here who can come out to the left. So very, very well set up in my opinion. And we can see here that Leeds very much camped in their own half. And a lot of the time here on their right-hand side, which is where Saka plays, 3 players having to look to try and mark the likes of Odegaard and Saka out of the game. And one of the reasons why Martinelli had so much success is because here there are only 2 players looking to track the likes of Xhaka, Tomiyasu, who was just as advanced as Martinelli at times on this right-hand side and their left-hand side. But looking to break down the goals, some really straightforward stuff to break down here. As we can see here in picture number 1, the yellow arrow suggesting of where the ball came in to Meslier. Now, for me here, something that Arsenal have unfortunately done in the past prior to bringing in Ramsdale, he's got an opportunity here to literally clear the ball first time. He can go down this route and go long. He's got a pass on here to his left-hand side, or even a pass here slightly longer, maybe a little bit more difficult to find the left back. But for me, he has to clear that ball straight away. They've got pressure coming in here from Saka. We've got the obvious pressure here from Nketiah, but he takes that touch, which allows Nketiah, which we can see here in picture number 2, to really close him down. Now, this is the second time where Nketiah has applied pressure to the opposition and managed to become a winner off of it. He done it against Chelsea. He put a pressure on Christensen. He won the ball and was able to slot the ball home. And again, he does it here against Leeds, something that we don't see from Lacazette. Now, he's been rewarded twice from applying this high pressure, and I absolutely love it. Picture number 3, we can see here, we've got Martinelli on the left-hand side. 3 players around him trying to close him down, but such a direct player, full of flair, full of confidence. And he manages to get all the way in behind the Leeds defenders. And we can see here Nketiah starting in a slightly deeper role, but he's hungry. He wants to get into the box. He wants to prove a point. And we can see here in picture number 2, which is where Martinelli eventually delivers that ball in to Nketiah, a first-time finish. He's actually falling backwards as he receives that ball. So it's not an easy finish, quite difficult to get the ball on target. I think had he have missed it, we can see here Martin Odegaard just behind him. And eventually the ball ends up in the back of the net to make it 2-0. Picture number 1 on the final slide of my breakdown here. Arsenal conceding their very first goal of the season from a corner. It's only taken 35 games. So credit where credit's due to the Arsenal coaching staff to really set the boys up from a defensive as well as attacking set piece. It's absolutely phenomenal this year. But it's a simple flick on from the front post. Nothing too crazy in terms of a smart move from a corner. It's flicked on to the back post, where Llorente is simply unmarked, making a sort of late run around the back. I suppose that's probably the biggest concern for me, is why are no Arsenal players picking him up? But a free run and a free hit at the back post. Ramsdale, all he can do is make himself big. Unfortunately, it hits Ramsdale and goes into the back of the net. Now, at this point of the game, Arsenal were fairly dominant. I expected them to come out in the second half and really kind of, well, put them to the sword, really, and get 3 or 4. And it just made the last part of the game a little bit touch and go. Arsenal still dominated all the way up until the end of the game, but we shouldn't really be putting ourselves in those positions. A very dominant game and display nonetheless. Now, way prior to Leeds scoring their first goal, picture number 2, We can see here that Martinelli, who is an absolute nuisance all game long, a double-footed lunge, stud showing and off the grain from Ayling. Initially, he was given a yellow card from the referee. It was then later reviewed by VAR and given as a red. I don't think there are too many arguments from Arsenal fans, Leeds fans, or even neutral fans as to whether or not this was or wasn't a red card. All I can say is that maybe Kavanagh's view was slightly skewed as to why he didn't give a red card straight away. Rafinha nearly even got himself sent off, being booked whilst complaining and then continuing to complain well after the decision had been made. But yeah, for me, absolutely no arguments there. And then away from all of the big incidents in the game, I just wanted to show a few pictures of Arsenal's shape and the reason why we continue to dominate in games. Picture number 3 here, we can see Arsenal's front five, something that we often see and have seen since, I'd say, around about December this season. Saka on the left, on the right, Martinelli on the left, always 2 furthest players forward, as we saw in Arsenal's passing shape. We've got Odegaard here, Nketiah, and believe it or not, as I already mentioned, Tomiyasu in a very advanced position with Granit Xhaka slightly further behind. Normally, it's those two that are switched around, and it's the amount of pressure that we're applying here. There are only 5 Leeds players in this picture, and this is why Arsenal dominated so much. And then finally, to finish up, we've got these wide rotations. Elneny, as I said, playing as that single deep pivot, providing a little bit of cover to that back 4 or back 2 when we're in more advanced positions. We've got Granit Xhaka, Martinelli, and Tomiyasu. Mentioning already Tomiyasu being the furthest player forward. It's those wide rotations, these triangles. They're constantly switching positions. You could quite easily have seen each of these players in the other person's role here, constantly moving around, causing problems. And I think this is why Leeds struggled at times, because normally you'd see Xhaka here and Tomiyasu there. They were swapping places. Leeds players being pulled out of position all game long, and very much the same scenario here on the right-hand side with Odegaard, Cedric and Saka just out of picture. It means there are a lot of space here in the centre for the likes of Nketiah to operate in, or Odegaard to make those late runs, Tomiyasu or Xhaka to make those late runs through the middle, allowing the likes of Martinelli and Saka to make those runs in behind, which is what we often saw throughout this game. So some great tactical decisions from Arteta, in my opinion. And then some player analysis. You've seen some new graphics today, and there's some more new graphics on the channel for those of you who regularly watch. 3 players who I thought played excellently yesterday. Big shout outs to the likes of Cedric and Tomiyasu, who I thought were absolutely exceptional at fullback. And this relationship between Granit Xhaka and Mohamed Elneny continues to flourish. I think both of their passing accuracies were well above 95% yesterday, and it was just a phenomenal, dominant display in midfield. Leeds just couldn't cope with either of them. But having a look at some fine performances yet again, as I said, Martinelli, very unlucky not to get man of the match. Odegaard very unlucky not to get man of the match as well. It ended up falling to Eddie Nketiah. But Martinelli here, as we can see on screen, 1 assist, 85% passing accuracy, 2 key passes, 3 successful duels out of 4 dribbles, and 8 successful duels out of 12. An absolute nuisance, as I said, down that left-hand side. Did not stop running up and down, constantly in behind. Lucky to not bag himself a goal. Martin Odegaard continues to set the pace. He seems to be flourishing now with the armband. A big shout for him being captain next year, even in Kieran Tierney coming back potentially. I think Odegaard is a player that will often be fit, doesn't very often miss games. So he would seem the likely choice. 81% passing accuracy, 3 key passes. Very unlucky not to get himself a goal. There are a couple of really big opportunities for him. 2 long balls successful out of 2, 3 successful dribbles out of 5, and 5 duels won out of 9. Did not stop running, did not stop applying the pressure in high positions. Some of the flicks and tricks, he just makes it look all that easy. And at 23 and 30 million pounds, what an absolute bargain. I even heard the commentary saying that a lot of what he did yesterday was very Ozil-esque, but with a lot more movement and energy. And then to finish up, as already mentioned earlier in this video, Eddie Nketiah offers a completely different dimension to this Arsenal side. Does not stop running, a constant nuisance and handful for defenders in those duels. 5 successful duels out of 8. He's quick in behind. He offers an out ball when we're in sticky situations. And it's the pressure that he applies that's also important. excellent asset at Arsenal. 2 goals, 93% passing accuracy, 5 shots in total, 1 successful dribble out of 2. And as already mentioned, a nuisance, 5 successful duels out of 8. Will he be at Arsenal next season? Rumours murmuring Arsenal will continue to offer him a new contract. Let me know down in the comments below. Should Eddie Nketiah get a new contract at Arsenal for next season? And was he your man of the match? If not, who was? So that is going to about wrap things up for this video. A fine performance, which could have been rewarded with a few more goals. And Arsenal with a huge game midweek this Thursday against Spurs. Probably the biggest game of Arsenal season. A win will mean Champions League football for Arsenal next season. Hopefully all of you can watch. But that is going to about wrap things up for me today. Do drop a like on the video if you have enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new around here. Less than 20 away from 1,300. So thank you all very much for your support. But I'm JC, and I will catch you in the next one. Stay safe and take care.